this ministry is created to frame the policies related with the growth and development of pharmaceutical sector in India. So this is just a background of regulation, why regulation comes up and how it can be enforced. So drug plays an important role in the public healthcare system, as well as drug regulation is important to ensure safety, efficacy and quality of drugs. This drug regulation also control over the import, manufacture, sale and distribution of drugs. This pharma industry not only catering to the domestic market, our Indian pharmaceutical goods is exported in so many countries. About 200 countries we are exporting under WHO GMP certification scheme. And apart from that, so many non-regulated countries we are exporting medicinal products in the world. That's why India is called as a pharmacy of world. Compliance with GMP benchmark is mandatory. That's why this issue comes up ultimately with the compliances. At the end of the day, what matters whether what is the drug is manufactured that is in compliance with the laid down standard, and that drug is of optimized quality and standard. In India, central government has entrusted the responsibility to make act and regulations which governs the pharmaceutical industry in India. Then, as and when required, there is need to amend the standards and regulations. Then, to ensure this regulation is responsible or responsibility, or this is for the purpose to ensure the quality, safety, and efficacy of the drug. And ultimately, why the central authorities entrusted the responsibility that there should be a uniform enforcement and uniform interpretation of regulation throughout the country. Then what is the history? I can say how the regulatory mechanism comes up or how the GMP principles are developed in India. Initially, in 1961, there were only requirements for the equipment and premises. Then first, based on the 1975 WHO GMP guideline, initially the GMP manufacturing rules or Schedule M incorporated in Drugs and Cosmetic Act in 1986. But after the recommendation of National Human Rights Commission, the first elaborated Schedule M incorporated in the Drugs and Cosmetic Rule, and that is under GMP guideline, and that was, I think, implemented from 2004, and it was made compulsory for the new units which are supposed to be start after 2004, and 1 year grace period or transit period has been given to the already existing manufacturers to comply with them. And now this draft revised Schedule M has been published in October 2018, and that is optimized or at par with the WHO GMP guidelines. The major concern and challenges for implementation of GMP or a higher and higher benchmark or standard of GMP are, in India, there are multi-product manufacturing facility, as well as there is a concept of loan licensing in India. Then campaign-based manufacturing. As and when required, the manufacturer is having the order of batches, then only the manufacturing occurs. Rest of the time, if there is no work in the company or no, that time there is no activity. Then formulation development and process validation. This is also a very important aspect. In previous national GMP guideline, there was no such a illustrative guidelines or illustrative norms given regarding the formulation development as well as process validation. We can say in developed countries like US and UK, the R&D and formulation developments are very essential and integral part for pharmaceutical manufacturing. But at present, for a domestic manufacturer, if somebody wants to manufacture a pharmaceutical product, there are minimum requirements are given about formulation development or research-based development of that formulation. The excipient compatibility study. This is also one of the very important aspects. Nowadays, the formulation matrix, what the manufacturer is designing, so it is not a mandatory requirement in present regulation to conduct a excipient compatibility studies. Only it is desirable that whatever product manufacturer that should comply with this standard specification. It should be have its quality should be as per the desirable attribute, and the product comply with conditions of licenses. Then the BAB studies, mostly those innovators or the generic manufacturers nowadays. These manufacturers are required to comply or the conduct BAB studies and prove the produce a comparative data of innovator products and a new product. The quality culture act. This is very means apathy about this factor in India, that develop and maintain a quality culture in working practices is very rare. That's why these new guidelines or new schedule comes up with the development of quality culture in manufacturing and quality control of pharmaceuticals. Then training. This is also one of the integral part, because GMP is dynamic. Unless otherwise, the knowledge can be disseminated, and the knowledge, if not upgraded, it is of no use. Then hence the training part is very essential and useful, and make it compulsory while performing manufacturing under in compliance with GMP. Then data management and its integrity. Many issues are found in US when US authorities or US FDA comes for a pre-qualification audit in Indian plant. So this issue is very much flagged in their observation about data integrity and documentation related. So this upgraded schedule M is also incorporated the provisions of data integrity and documentation. Why there is an importance of GMP in pharmaceutical? Because whatever formulations available in a market, so you cannot have an option to check its quality. Means the consumer, when he is going to buy a product or buy a drug at a pharmacy, he is not have a ready tool to assess the quality of that product. Only he has to rely over the labeling conditions. He has to rely over the extent of enforcement or effectiveness of regulatory mechanism, or he is not have an option to choose a manufacturer to buy for buying that product or for a purchasing of that product. So there is only means he is trust over the confidence of regulatory mechanism for buying that pharmaceutical product. Because if that product is not of optimum standard or quality, even the product contain a low active ingredient or higher active ingredient, both these possibilities will harm the consumer's health and also economic losses. And at present, the system is what all the pharmaceutical products which are manufactured in India, it is compulsorily tested finally, and it should be released after the final quality check. But it is not desirable that quality can be assessed after the final check of product, but quality should be built throughout the process, so that confidence in the process, manufacturing process, as well as total quality management can be achieved, and the product will be comply with the necessary quality standards and regulatory requirements. And all these parameters can be ensured by effective implementation of GMP practices. So that's why GMP is essential. GMP is essential to build quality in the product life cycle. And all the time, this GMP norms and GMP standards are changing, because there are so many innovations in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Pharmaceutical technologies are coming. There are process-related changes. There are regulatory-related changes. That's why GMP is always dynamic, and it should be always be upgraded. These are the principles of GMP. Means all these 10 parameters are very much essential in pharmaceutical manufacturing when the things comes with GMP. Then first one is to establish controlled and consistent performance by defining the operating procedures and work instructions. Means whatever you are doing, whatever you are manufacturing, whatever you are testing, that should be documented. There is no scope for the individual perception or individual whims and fancies. Means whatever process of manufacturing you are following, whatever process of quality control you are following, that is well documented and well validated. Then confirming with the written procedures and instructions. Every process, every operation should be based on a standard operating procedure. Means there is no scope for a deviation or no scope for change and person to person based operation. Then better compliances and traceability through proper work documentation. All the things should be documented and executed properly. Proper validation is there. Then stable systems and equipment. Whatever equipments and material, instruments you are using for manufacturing, that should be validated, that should be calibrated, and all IQ should be there. Then maintenance of equipment means whatever periodical maintenance, planned preventive maintenance of that equipment and machinery should be there. Means there will not be a possibility of further wear and tear, or if there is a periodical maintenance, then sudden breakdown or operational breakdown not occur. Then there are defined job responsibility and competency. Means whatever manpower or expert manpower in manufacturing and quality control you are employing, they should have know their job responsibility and they are that much expertise to discharge their duties effectively and as per laid down procedure and principles. Protect product from alteration. Means GMP, the principle of GMP includes to prevent mix-up, contamination and cross-contamination. This will gives you the prevention from product adulteration or not of standard quality manufacturing. Then adherence to the quality product means all this should be, means organization or a company should have its quality policy, and that quality policy implementation is the responsibility of higher management. Means whatever quality product manufactured, that the responsibility of quality is laid down over the higher management, not on the lower employees or the technical person. The responsibility should have to take by the higher management. Then ensure the ultimately what are the regulations, what are the conditions of licenses will must have to be complied by following all these GMP parameters. These are the component of GMP. Means what are the essentials while manufacturing and testing the product in pharmaceuticals. So this is a list of this related. These are the general requirements with respect to the premises, with respect to the personals, with respect to the documentation, with respect to the instrumentation, with respect to the procedures and SOP. Quality related part, if we will see, there should be a quality assurance mechanism, there should be a provision of self-inspection and quality audit, there should be a written specification for manufacturing and testing, there should be a master formula record. Means whatever formulations you are manufacturing, there should optimization of formula is there. Means whatever formulations you are manufacturing, there should optimization of formula is there. Means fixed specifications, fixed quantities, and material specifications should be laid down in master formula record. Then batch manufacturing record. This is all the documentation, real-time documentation of manufacturing and quality check. That BMR is there, BPR, batch processing, packaging record is there. Yes, all the SOPs are accompanying with the approved formats for documentation. Then reference samples. After the manufacture of a particular batch, there is need to preserve the control samples for future references or for comparison or the investigation of market complaints. Then process validation, complaints and adverse reaction, OS investigation. If suppose a market complaint or a process related non-conformances occurs, then out of specific investigation is carried out, and that investigation report has been closed with the proper corrective and preventive action. Product recall is also one of the important GMP aspects or a good distribution practices related issue. When a market complaint received or a product due to some defects in the product, if the marketing team reported to the manufacturing site, then effective product recall system should be in place so that the product is entirely taken back from the supply chain, and then necessary investigation has to be carried out and proper corrective and preventive actions to be taken. Then site master file. This site master file is an essential documentation. This is the you can say the base document which reflects your organization, which reflects your quality policies, which reflects your total quality management of the manufacturing and quality control system what you have employed or implemented for pharmaceutical manufacturing. These are the critical components of GMP. Basically, whatever the product or a drug product you are manufactured, that should be in a controlled condition. And to create a controlled condition, you require to control the environmental conditions like temperature, humidity, and microbial contamination. So to achieve these conditions, this HVAC heating, ventilation, and cooling system is required through air handling units, and this provides the optimum environmental conditions for the manufacturing of the product. So this HVAC provided filtered air of desired cleanliness and desired temperature. Then environmental control as per product specification. Some product required a specific temperature or a specific relative humidity. You might have know about this amoxicillin and potassium clavulonate formulation. This potassium clavulonate in API required around 45% RH. So this condition can be artificially achieved with the use of heating, ventilation, and cooling system in a pharmaceutical manufacturing system. Unless otherwise, that product is become unstable in a storage in its shelf life, and ultimately the product results with not of standard quality. And this is also required for the personal comfort who is working there in such a environment. If the ambient temperature and humidity is not maintained, that this will create a discomfort to the person and he will not work effectively and properly there. Then what will be the achievable with the use of effective HVAC system to avoid contamination? Because if there is a mix-up, contamination or a cross-contamination occurs, there may be a possibility of product quality compromisation. You might have heard about one of the case detected by FDA Maharashtra in 90s, when a product which was used in the treatment, or there was a camp of cataract operation camp. That time this Septron tablet that contains this cotrimoxazole and trimethoprim, that tablets have been given to the patients after the cataract operation. But after that, so many patients have been lost their vision due to hypoglycemia. And there are so many complications occur when the back investigation was been done. So that Septron cotrimoxazole trimethoprim formulation was mixed up with a glibenclamide. So this was the story occurred due to that mix up and cross contamination. So to avoid such kind of incidences, or to avoid such non-GMP issues, this HVAC system is playing very crucial role for a self-confined environment to eradicate the possibilities of mix-up, contamination, and cross-contamination. And ultimately, this will result in ensuring the quality and safety of the product. Another system is water system. After HVAC, another critical system is water, which is used in formulation. See, based on the specification of product, OSD is there, or a sterile product like injectable, small volume parenterals, or large volume parenterals, or ophthalmic preparation, the vehicle is playing a very vital and important role. The quality of water, desirable quality of water, has to be achieved by processing the water by various processes or a water treatment plant. if and the trend analysis can also be conducted to check the environmental and seasonal changes or bioburden of that water. And this validated water system is essential to achieve the desirable specification for potable water, for water for sorry, purified water, and sterile water for injection. Along with this, all the processes of either manufacturing processes or process related processes are there that should be validated, and it should be properly documented so that the evidences of validation can be produced. Identification of process parameter, optimization of critical control parameters, and ensure consistency in every set of operation. For every product registration for export, there is a need of process validation data and a stability data of that product. As per the present WHO GMP guidelines and upcoming revised schedule and guidelines, minimum 3 consecutive batches of a product should be prospective process validation to be conducted, and that has to be supported with a minimum 6 month accelerated stability data or a 1 year real time or intermediate stability data. Uh, this process validation and stability testing data will use the or provide the storage condition, retest period, shelf life, recommended packaging, and meets the regulatory requirement for registration of the product. This is just I highlighted about the upcoming revised schedule M and present schedule M, just comparison that and what was their provision in the previous schedule M. So part of part one is the main principles of GMP and what covers in updated schedule M. Just we will go through it. I already told that manufacturer must assume the responsibility of the quality of product manufacture. Then senior management has the ultimate responsibility. Consistency, the product is produced in the manufacturing facility, have a consistency. Then product and process knowledge, the persons or a technical manpower working there in the manufacturing or a quality control, they should have that much expertise and the knowledge of that product manufacturing and product testing. Then it is mandatory in this present schedule M, the approval, vendor approval is not that much mandatory, but in WHO GMP guidelines and upcoming schedule M, every material, either it is a raw material, API or packaging material, that is, and upcoming schedule M, every material, either it is a raw material, API or packaging material, that should be procured from an approved vendor, and that vendor audit is necessary to ensure that the quality parameters or the quality attributes of the products are compliant. Then assessment of risk is also quality risk management concept is implemented in this upcoming schedule M. It was also already implemented in WHO GMP guidelines, PICS guidelines, and US FDA requirements also. All the starting material and critical processes and control and finished products result should be reviewed. Review of all failed batches means annual product review should take care of or examine or investigate all out of specification results. Review of non-conformance related investigation and necessary CAPA. Review of complaints and recall. Then qualification status of equipment such as HVAC and water means all these critical systems like HVAC and water systems should be validated periodically. Their annual maintenance contract or a comprehensive maintenance contract should be in place, and that will be carried out by a proper agreement with the vendor. And technical agreement to review this validation with outside agencies. This is GMP. What is GMP actually is given part of the quality management which ensures that the product are consistently produced and as per its pre-decided attributes or pre-decided parameters. And what will be the aim of this GMP is to managing and minimizing the risk for product failure or not of standard quality products. This is in general what is previous and what is going to be incorporated in revised schedule M. Just I will go through it. Sanitation in initial covers only the workers and manufacturing premises, but in revised schedule M covers the personal premises, equipments, apparatus, production materials and containers. Means we have to upgrade the our facility. The manufacturers need to upgrade its facility, upgrades its procedure with this revised schedule M provisions. Qualification and validations covers only manufacturing processes and testing and cleaning in existing schedule M, but now in revised schedule M additionally covers premises, utilities and equipments too. Qualification in previous existing schedule M there is no written or express provision regarding the qualification of instruments or equipment and machinery, but upcoming schedule M and already in WHO GMP guidelines there is a provision of installation qualification, operational qualification, performance design qualification and performance qualification of equipments, machineries, area and related things. Then complaints and adverse reaction. In present schedule M, only serious adverse reactions which ultimately resulted into a casualty can be or a serious health hazard will be reported to the licensing authority. But in present upcoming revised schedule M, the every product related failure or every adverse reaction, either it will may or may not be result into a serious health hazard, will be reported to licensing authority, and which includes faulty manufacture, product deterioration, serious quality problems, and every manufacturer have to make a system of pharmacovigilance in its own supply chain or in its manufacturing site. Then product recall related provision in present guidelines or present schedule M, there is no provisions for product recall, but still DCGI and every state authorities had developed their own product recall guideline nowadays also, but these product recall related mechanisms and rules are incorporated in upcoming schedule M. Change control. So whatever during the manufacturing processes or during the quality control of pharmaceutical product, any change occurred or any out of specification result occurs, that should be supported with a proper deviation report and a change control procedure. This was not given in present schedule M, but upcoming schedule M covers every change in raw material, change in product packaging materials, specification, analytical method, facilities, utilities, equipments, any small changes that should be supported with a proper deviation and change control system and change documentation. Regarding production area and production procedure, there is no express provisions given in existing schedule M. It depends to design and develop the production mechanism, production procedures, and production parameter is up to the concerned manufacturer. But the agreement, role, responsibilities, contract giver, contract acceptors, and everything related to the services and operations are noted down or given expressively in upcoming schedule. Self-inspection and quality audit. This is the internal inspection mechanism of a manufacturer where the team of internal audit supposed to conduct the internal audit periodically after some time or after some incidences like not of standard quality report or after the regulator inspections. This internal team found to conduct the internal audit and they generate a report. Based on the report of internal audit team, the corrective and preventive actions, we might generally called as a kappa, is implemented, and that NCs or that non-compliances has been closed. So regarding this internal audit, there is no much express provisions or a periodicity or a detail how should we, or what is the composition of internal audit team, and all that things are not given in existing schedule M, but there is a exhaustive guidelines, or you can say exhaustive provisions are given in upcoming schedule M regarding the frequency of internal audit, what should be the composition of internal audit team, what are the areas to be covered for the internal audit, how should be the NCs has to be furnished. There is a provision to communicate this report of internal audit to the higher management. Higher management has to take a decision and frame a timeline to comply with the non-conformances observed in internal audit. So there are the exhaustive provision regarding internal audit, and how to deal with the report of internal audit are given in upcoming revised schedule. Personal related things as such, only as per rule 72 and 76 of drugs and cosmetic rules, there are given a qualification of a personal, competent person for manufacturing and competent person for a testing are given. But regarding how, what should be the desirables expertise, what are the requirements of training, that are not given in the existing scenario, but it is all a part of revised schedule M regarding the training, regarding the expertise, regarding the qualification, and regarding the area-wise heads and area-wise in charge of the operations. Premises related parameters are given in a general requirements in existing schedule M, but that is now more and more illustrated with respect to the type of product supposed to be manufactured in that premises. So product specific requirement for the premises and area are given in new schedule M. So detailed requirement about production areas, weighing areas, ancillary areas, storage area, quality area, and other related provisions are given separately with respect to the area in upcoming schedule. Equipments related cleaning validations and cleaning procedures are incorporated in coming schedule. Material related provisions was not mentioned in present schedule, but now validated computerized storage system for raw material, packaging materials are given. Packaging material not to test batches. At present, there is a provision to release or the test everything, means API, packaging material, and other secondary packaging material in present scenario. But these upcoming guidelines or WHO GMP guidelines are suggesting you have to conduct the audit of supplier. Vendor, you have to conduct a vendor site audit based on sample analysis or actual visit to the site of the vendor, conduct the audit, and based on audit report and past performance of that vendor, you have to release the batches of packaging material and other allied secondary packaging materials. Schedule M has given 100% quality test of all active ingredients. It was provision in WHO GMP guidelines as a route N-1, but there is no provision to test excipients 100%. But in upcoming schedule M, there is a provision to 100% API testing. There is given a provision that except dedicated facilities, means a facility is manufacturing only one product, then there is a waiver given for 100% testing of API. In present schedule M, reprocessing and recoveries are not allowed. Means if the batches during operation or during manufacturing in process quality control, if it is observed that the product is not meeting with the desired quality parameters, so there is only one remedy available with the manufacturer to reject that batch or to discard that batch manufactured. But in this present upcoming schedule M, the provision for reprocessing and addition of recoveries is given, but some mechanism and SOP should this recoveries and reprocessing should be supported with a documentation and based on a written procedures. and there is a how modus of operandi is given in upcoming schedule M, that how recoveries and in what conditions the recoveries or reprocessing can be done, and how documentation can be done, whether it has to again there is a provision to conduct a stability studies after addition of recovery and after reprocessing is there. So reference standard means reference standard, working standard related provisions are incorporated in a new schedule M, and it is mandatory or made compulsory to use IPC standard, this working standard, sorry, reference standard, and there is also a procedure for preparation of working standard is prescribed in upcoming schedule M. Waste management related procedures and issues are as per the previous this schedule M only, because the procedures and the guidelines are given as per the relevant rule for disposal of waste. There are separate rules and regulations are given for waste management as well as biomedical waste disposal. So that waste management related procedures should be followed as per existing laws and rules. In documentation, nowadays, everything should be physically shown to the regulator. That means whatever the SOPs, whatever the batch manufacturing record, whatever the batch packaging records and other relevant documentation that has to be maintained in a hard copy, and as and when required, it has to be shown to the regulator for evaluation or audit purpose. But in an upcoming area, the electronic records is permitted through a proper validated system. Many of the companies who are certified as a WHO GMP manufacturers or USFDA or EDQMA, so they are using this computerized system or validated softwares such as the SAP system is there. So now this is implemented in upcoming, means manufacturer have an option to choose the electronic system or a software-based system for documentation or traceability of documentation. Good practices of productions are initially it is a responsibility of manufacturer. Nowadays, it's a responsibility of manufacturer, and manufacturer can devise and design its own methodology, own specification for the manufacturing processes. But it is now incorporated in schedule M. It is now incorporated in rules. What should be done and what should not be done. This is incorporated elaborately in upcoming schedule M. Timeline for storage of equipment after cleaning. Then details requirement about good practices in production. Then any significant deviation from the expected yield. So nowadays, in present scenario, this is all is a responsibility means this is totally entrusted over the manufacturer that to adopt a methodology, to adopt the processes to ensure the compliances of all these things. But in coming schedule M, it is written down, and how to do it is also given in upcoming schedule M. Similarly, like production, there are good practices related quality controls are also laid down in upcoming schedule M. How quality control means analytical method validation, then stability studies, to design a stability study calendar, to monitor the stability study, and to maintain its records and design and develop the shelf life of the product, storage condition, etc. In present situation, there is no express provision for to carry out or compulsorily carry out the stability studies of the product, except the plants who are applying for WHO GMP certification. There is a mandatory provision to conduct a process validation and to carry out a stability study for product registration. But for a manufacturing of a product for domestic market, you have to ensure that your product is stable. This is only a requirement given in a present schedule M. Means it is not elaborately or expressly mentioned that the manufacturer has to ensure the stability of the product by means or by conducting a stability studies, but he has to ensure by any means that the product is stable, safe, and standard quality. But in schedule M, the express provision to conduct a stability studies, and in what conditions stability studies has to be conducted, it is also mentioned in schedule M. Means in case of any major change in the manufacturing process, any major change in manufacturing equipment, API change is there, or change in testing method, analytical method is there, there is need to conduct stability studies freshly and uh, uh, ensure its shelf life and storage condition. Part testing in case of COA from reliable manufacturer. There is a provision given to outsource some test from the outside laboratories such as private testing laboratories or some other contract manufacturer or a contract research organization. But this part testing is allowed only after the past performance and confidence level, or you can say the in case of unless otherwise the manufacturer is reliable and time tested. So then only part testing is allowed. Retention of sample and other material for 2 years means this retention of sample at present the control samples retention period is 1 year after the expiry of that period, that product, but now it is reduced, or it is expressly given that only for the 2 year period the control samples and other material can be preserved. Initially, at present also there are the specific conditions or specific requirement for manufacturing of sterile product. Then there is a provision of schedule. I mean, oral solid dosage form is there. Then external preparation is there, and API is also there at present. Oral solid dosage form and the provision for the API manufacturing are as it is in a present schedule, but there are elaborate and specific product manufacturing and product quality testing related provisions and requirements are given for sterile small volume parenterals, large volume parenterals, then ophthalmic preparations, then vaccines, then some additional categories like biological products, then phytochemicals are also incorporated in this new Schedule M for, regarding this specific requirements. Actually, this is sex hormones, anabolic, androgenic steroids, and psychotropic substances in present Schedule M. There is only mention that a self-confined area is required to manufacture these substances in present Schedule M. There is only mention that a self-confined area is required to manufacture this sensitive and cytotoxic product. But in present upcoming Schedule M or already in a WHO GMP guideline, these, how should be the area to manufacture these sensitive products like sex hormones is there, beta lactam, antibiotics are there, and some steroid products are there, are elaborately given. Some these new categories that radiopharmaceutical, phytopharmaceuticals, and investigational new drugs for clinical trial purposes. How should be the production area? How should be the requirement? How should be the quality parameters? Everything is given in upcoming schedule. So, if we discussed about the present these incidences of diethylene glycol poisoning, we can say so. Government of India comes up with a robust mechanism to control these unfortunate things or unfortunate incidences. So, Central Drug Standard Control Organization, along with the state drug control authorities, comes up with scheduled risk-based inspection program of so many manufacturers, almost all the manufacturers who are manufacturing cough syrup, to check the GMP compliances and take appropriate action to check and control these incidences. So all over the country, the risk-based program of risk-based inspection program of manufacturer with exhaustive checklist and a team of regulator is going on, and so many manufacturers are found to be in a non-compliances of certain regulatory parameters. Then inspections of all regulators, public testing laboratories. India is having so many public testing laboratories. The concept of public testing laboratories is that the manufacturer have a liberty to carry out some of its product test from outside laboratory. If the manufacturer is not having the facility of sophisticated material to conduct some special tests, then the manufacturer can have an agreement with private testing laboratory to carry out such a test, and based on the report issued by that private testing laboratory or a public testing laboratory, the product has been given release. So that test laboratories are complying with the norms or provisions of good laboratory practices, and they are carrying out their testing of that pharmaceuticals or API or excipient as per given standard or present guidelines or present norm. So BCGI has decided to conduct an exhaustive test program, inspection program of this private testing laboratories also, to ensure that the product are tested in that laboratories are as per laid down norms and as per the given specification of that product. Then sampling of propylene glycol API from the cough syrup manufacturer. Very recently, BCGI implemented this program to conduct 100% sampling of cough syrup manufacturer. Whatever API they are using, either propylene glycol they are using or other similar excipients they are using for the manufacture of this cough syrup. So all this API or propylene glycol or a finished formulation of that cough syrup has been sampled for a quality check throughout the country. Then it is made mandatory by DGFT, Director of Foreign Trade and Exports, to carry out, or unless and otherwise the product is certified or tested by a notified laboratory. There are a list of notified laboratory, including the central CDTL and some of the state drug laboratories and some of the NABL accredited private testing laboratories, that all the cough syrup supposed to be export, all the batches has to be tested first from these laboratories, and if it is passed or if it is complying with the specification or given standard as per the monograph or as per the given specification in compendia, then only that batches are allowed to export or allowed to release. Rest of the batches, those who are not complying with the specification, appropriate legal action or regulatory action is initiated against that manufacturer. So these are the control and checks BCGI implemented to deal with such unfortunate things happen in recent past. So ultimately, it comes to the conclusion of this presentation that why we have seen that why GMP is necessary, why GMP is required, essential, how it should be implemented, what should be the norms, what should be the guidelines, what are the various rules and regulations are governing it. So it is all for the all to ensure the quality product or to protect the product failure. Means continual improvement in a quality. This is all the phenomenon, all this exercise, all this regulation comes to the comes to a common minimum goal that whatever the product manufactured, it is of desired quality, desired standard, safe and efficacious. Facilitate innovation means now India is a global pharmacy. India is growing as a pharma power. We are exporting to about whole of the world. So there should be, or the product manufactured by the Indian pharmaceutical industry should be innovative one. And when that innovation will become, or when the product will be based on innovation, when the quality culture will be built up in manufacturing and quality testing, and the scientific knowledge or expertise or training of that manufacturing chemist or the person responsible for manufacturing or testing will be developed. Promote export. Ultimately, if the quality is up to the mark at par with the global standard, so definitely it will help and it will support the enhancement of export of pharmaceuticals from India to rest of the world. Build trust and confidence on quality. As on date, although these incidences are occurring, still India is the best choice for the generic medicines, and cheaper medicine. We can say the affordable medicine. I would not like to use the word cheaper medicine. It will be a affordable and a safe medicine. So this can be achieved with the use of GMP practices, and ultimately it will reduce the not of standard quality drugs and product failure, and it will finally result into reduce or a nil recall of not of standard drugs or pharmaceutical. So this is the all about the what is the regulatory requirement at present, and what will be the upgradation upcoming in this regulatory requirement. Definitely, as far as the Indian pharmaceutical scenario as on date is considered, we are complying with minimum benchmark of GMP. Our pharmaceutical manufacturers are at par with the national guideline, as well as such we see the numbers around more than 1400 WHO GMP certified units are in India, and higher number of US FDA units in India, which is outside US. Outside US means the numbers of US FDA units in US, more than that units are certified in India. So this is the global scenario or global standing of Indian pharmaceutical market. So we can say definitely, if though such unfortunate incidences occur, the regulatory mechanisms are taking appropriate steps to check implement the checks and control measures of that, and very shortly it will be comes to the zero, or it will be comes to the lower level. It will be regularized well. So definitely, India pharmaceutical market is a growing market having global standing and global demand. So national regulators, even the Indian pharmaceutical industry is sufficiently empowered or sufficiently capable to maintain these standards and global demand. So this is all with my presentation. If you are having some questions, or there is a separate panel discussion, we will discuss your questions or answer your questions in that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Actually, there is a very stringent IPQC program formulation. So where was that fault percentage of I think that was the limits given? I think more than 30%.
Yeah, in that news, there is a given that 30 to 35% of diethylene glycol percentage was found, but I don't think so. This is a you can say the authoritative limit, because in IP the monogram of propylene glycol has suggested 0.01% of propylene glycol, but the whatever the investigations carried out after that incidences, it was not the story that 30 to 35% of propylene glycol was there.
So it means that there was no effect or stringent IPQC program is there because they are formulating and simultaneously they are generating the batches also.
Yes.
So it could have been notified in the early stage because it was not with only one company.
Yeah.
I think it was with many companies. I think 1% of the total companies were there where this formulation was found for.
Yeah. See, this issue generally, whatever this issue flagged, this is only in non-regulated countries, where these countries are not having their minimum regulatory mechanism. So this is out of the ambit of GMP certificate, whatever required mandatory provisions to be followed by the manufacturer for export. Because these manufacturers are not complying with the provisions of WHO GMP certifications, or even they are whatever that might be a process related part they have neglected, or as such in a present say upcoming WHO GMP guidelines or upcoming schedule, and there is given a provision to provision of vendor approval. So whatever the raw material or API they are purchasing might be from that unauthorized sources or unapproved vendor. So that raw material or a starting material or excipient, they have not tested it before the release. At present situation, in present schedule also, there is a provision to test excipients and API before release for a formulation. So this requirements or these mandatory provisions might have been that manufacturers have not complied, and due to that process related errors or GMP related non-compliances, this issue arises. But definitely, I can say whatever the news person told that 30 to 35% of diethylene glycol was there, this was not the story. It was not revealed in an investigation or sample analysis.
May I add, the basic issue is that what I was discussing with one of your senior officials in CDSU. He said perhaps one batch has come from China, which had this problem and which was locally distributed to small manufacturers. It had been due to that problem. It can occur. I know that the clandestine import and all those things happen without license. And these companies go for cost cutting. So might be. And issue is how much of the percentage of diethylene glycol in propylene glycol can kill a child. So whether it's 30% or 3%, question is that's a right. So it was beyond minimum level of toxicity. So that's why that's a right. So it was a sad happening. Investigations, primarily it is bad controls within those companies which are very small scale or medium scale. So that is there, the problem is there. And my question, no, but I want to have information from you. You have talked about in your presentation about checklists according to 2018 GMP. Because earlier 2015, 2005, and then I don't know which one was the last one.
2005
The first
2005 was the last.
2005 was the checklist was prepared by Dr. DUI.
Yes.
But do you have checklist according to the revised rule of draft 1 2018? I think there is no checklist.
No, sir. This is in a draft stage, sir. It is yet to be finalized or final notification is yet to come.
Risk-based management, risk-based inspection has been done according to 2018 draft.
Yeah, there was a separate checklist derived for risk-based inspection, and mechanism that gradation mechanism was formed there. Means benchmark and total gradation.
That is already there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
According to draft.
Draft, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if we want to procure a narcotic drug which comes under the NDPS Act, which is required for the research project, so can we procure it from the company as a gift sample?
For narcotic drugs and psychotropic drugs, the research institute has been given exemption from the provision or from the licensing under Narcotics and Psychotropic Substances Act. Your question is that you want to obtain a gift sample from a manufacturer for a research purpose. So yes, you can give your letter from your institutions from where you are working that such and such quantity of this narcotic drug we require for a research purpose. Your head of the institution can give undertaking that these drugs will be exclusively used for the research purpose. Whatever utilization record will be kept and nothing will be diverted in any other activity. This undertaking you have to furnish along with the request letter to the concerned manufacturer. The concerned manufacturer will give or will have he can give that much quantity required for the research purpose. For that purpose, you need not to require any license or any permissions under D&C Act or NDPS Act.
सर मतलब हम लोगों ने ऑलरेडी जो कंपनी एक प्रोडक्ट मैन्युफैक्चर करती है उनको लेटर भेजे थे तो फिर उनका मेल फिर भी आया है कि आप लोग मतलब वो नार्कोटिक के अंडर आता है तो इसलिए हम प्रोवाइड नहीं कर सकते हमने कॉलेज की लेटर हेड के ऊपर भेजा था
It depends on manufacturer to manufacturer whether he wants to give or not.
सर मतलब
Means you cannot make it mandatory that a manufacturer can give you that drug for a research purpose as a gift sample. If you want to give, then he can give. There is as such no. There is only a exemption given for small quantities. If a narcotic drug or a psychotropic drug or controlled substances are required for institutional level, so that institution is have an exemption. If acetic anhydride is banned, we generally in other such commercial manufacturing or at a laboratory scale, if somebody is using acetic anhydride at large scale, so they have to obtain a permission or a license from the appropriate competent authority. But if a research institute or a college laboratory